Mr. Trump, things are changing in Canada. We're going our own way from here on in. That's the real juice in the 1-2 message of Chrystia Freeland and Defense Minister Sajjan this week. Canada is wandering out from under the umbrella of the U.S. superpower. We're choosing our own path. Bold stuff, revolutionary in some way, but how true can it be? The U.S. under Trump, for good or ill, regardless of Ms. Freeland's assertion, remains the indispensable player, simply by virtue of its immense military power and the reach of that power. And our pure geographic proximity to that power leaves us, to some degree, inescapably reliant on the United States. Should the world ever come, and all pray that it will not, to any massive disturbance, America will remain the absolute key player, and a satellite power such as Canada, however much in the meantime we fortify our own military, will operate inescapably in harmony or dependence on the U.S. Secondly, much of Ms. Freeland's speech and Defense Minister Sajjan's blueprint for military spending remain aspirations. They are goals to be reached, not realities of the moment. And there is a considerable interim in which, whether we wish it or not, we are still within the confines of our present undernourished military condition and therefore dependent on the influence of the United States. Now, that said, there was much about Freeland's speech that was, I reiterate, bold and fresh. From a foreign policy point of view, and were it not for our 150th anniversary, I'd call this Canada's Declaration of Independence. You have to go back to the ancient days of John Diefenbaker's testy relationship with J.F. Kennedy to find a speech with so much vinegar poured out on a U.S. administration or its president. And much like everything else in politics these days, the speech was, in one sense, mainly about Donald Trump. He's not reliable, was the scarcely buried subtext. And if we were looking for a signal that such was the subtext, the image of Prime Minister Trudeau's cozy tete-a-tete in a Montreal restaurant with the whole world's idea of the perfect anti-Trump, Barack Obama, was a billboard of that signal. Trump will likely not read the parliamentary speeches. However, the eye of Sauron Trump will not miss the photo op. Where offside with Mr. Trump is this week's full message. Canadians like distance from Washington most times, but we're still meshed in 1,000 different ways, economically, culturally, and militarily, with the U.S. And whether events will allow us to quite so firmly go another way is a question only events will answer. Being quite so declarative in our distaste for the current U.S. administration might be therapeutic, but it could have penalties. Every declaration of independence has a cost. And with the current U.S. president, it is folly to guess what that cost for Canada might be. For The National, I'm Rex Murphy.